Raise a glass, boys. It was a fist fight. Unfortunately, did not go Notre Dame's way. All right. Season 4, episode 9. Is this episode 9? Shit, it is. No, bullshit. What am I talking about? Season 4, episode 14, volume 100. This is the 100th episode of the Fighting Irish Faithful show. Sadly, not what we were expecting. Not what we were hoping. Maybe some different coaching decisions in the first quarter. We'll get to that. That's for sure. We would actually be watching overtime right now, but that's okay. We'll talk about that soon. TJ, I see you there. Irish Tightness, I see you there. We'll get to you guys in a second. All right, so Notre Dame loses to Ohio State at home. Green out. Definitely a fist fight of a football game. Not going to take anything away from Ohio State. They played their ass off, and credit to the defense. I don't think anyone was expecting this score. That's for sure. I was expecting more of a shootout, but yeah, Irish fall 14-17 at home to Ryan Day and the Buckeyes, and unfortunately, the streak of a losing streak to the Buckeyes continues, which is unfortunate. So we'll get to my opinions shortly, but we'll go to TJ first because you were first on. We've invited you to speak. Thank you for wanting to join the Fighting Irish Faithful show. Hello. Hit the pink button, lower left-hand corner.
Man, if All-American kicker doesn't miss that fucking field goal, you know, that puts us in a great fucking position to have more control of this damn game. And another thing, what's up with these horrible offensive play calling snaps on third down, fourth down, hurry up and snap the ball instead of reading the damn defense the way freaking the quarterback should.
Yeah, what I find it really interesting in a game like this, like half of it's interesting, the half of it, and I do want to touch on the kicking. I will come back to that. What's interesting is I ran the numbers. I took a few minutes to compile the stats I normally do after every post game, and Notre Dame actually ran the ball 60% of the time, and we actually did have a lot more rushing yards than Ohio State. We had 176 rushing yards on the ground. Unfortunately, we did not average more yards per carry, and obviously we didn't win the game, so it's kind of mute. What's interesting is, now what's not surprising is, given the low score of the game, how that kind of collaborates whatnot with the rushing production. What's interesting though is like who's our best offensive player? You could argue it's Hartman, and in a game like this, where you need to be smart on maybe third down or some of this other stuff, and it's like, I agree with you. At times, I was like, "What are we doing?" And that's just kind of my opinion on that. Now, and you don't have to go on mute. You can stay off mute. That's fine. The kicking piece, I don't really have too much of an issue with missing the field goal. I actually take a bigger issue. I would like to step back to our first drive. We move the ball down the field considerably. First off, the big problem I see is Notre Dame on their scoring drives was 22%. We were 2 of 19. Well, Ohio State 3 of 8. So yeah, there you go. Do the math on that one. The thing that bothers me the most is on our first drive, we go 14 plays, 71 yards, and then we, the call gets overturned or whatever with Hartman going out of bounds. And I was like, just kick the field goal. It's the first quarter. Get some points.
I mean, I get it. I get you're making a statement because you're really close into the red zone, but this is what I'm talking about with that third down, with that stupid fucking play action that nobody bit. Mm-hmm. The problem with that is calm down. There's no rush. Read the damn blitz. Read what's going on. Make the play.
Are you talking about late in the game or?
No. This was in the beginning when when they were pounding the ball, and then they wanted to do that play action rollout, and then they didn't bite. if you recall, in the beginning of the game, Ohio State didn't buy it, and so it made fucking Harvard bootleg out,
Yeah.
and we missed it. But what was the rush? Why rush that play? They're already set. You're not getting anybody like off set from the defense. Read it. Pick up a blitzer. Play it right. Make a change. I hate this shit, man.
I mean, my biggest issue is just like the game was at hand, and I said to a friend of mine who is an Ohio State person, I said, I think we're in for something special. Now, I didn't make any predictions whatsoever one way or the other. Now, I did say on Tuesday night show that I thought Notre Dame would win statistically, and I do still think we could have done that tonight. Now, clearly, whatever I predicted in the crystal ball here doesn't really matter, because what matters was the scoreboard, and I have to give credit to Ryan Day. That last call, running the football on the goal line there at the last play, I actually thought that was a brilliant call. I would have done the same. 3 wideouts right, and then just you've got a big back who's been fairly successful, and it looked like Notre Dame was caught off guard. So I don't want to take anything away from Ohio State, but at the same time, I'm also like, if I just step back to where we are as a program, this is not. Unfortunately, this is a little familiar, but it's a different kind of familiar in the sense that this game was an absolute fist fight from the beginning all the way to the end, back and forth kind of thing. If someone had asked me, is this going to be a defensive struggle or a shootout, I would have said shootout. I was not expecting
was shootout.
Yeah, I mean, TJ, did you think it would be 17-14 and bet the under?
No, not at all.
No, if anyone bet the under, respect to you. But I was not expecting a game like this. This is like Stanford 2012 kind of shit, where there literally is a goal line stand that Notre Dame stopped.
The first night game in 20 years. I remember that. Fucking fumbled in the goal line.
That's what I'm talking about. And then it goes down to the end where they get it on a late third down or whatever the fuck it was, and then it's like, okay, there's like 3 seconds left. Like, this is like Bush push kind of stuff. Grant, the score is like half of what that game was. But the point is, big game, prime time, whatever. And unfortunately, it just doesn't go Notre Dame's way, which is unfortunate. Hindsight's always 20/20. But I have, I'm in a text group, with the Joe's Leprechauns crew. And when we did not go for it on fourth down, I was like, why the fuck are we not just kicking a field goal? Get 3 points now and just deal with the rest of the game later. And I got all sorts of shit. And, I'm not going to say I was right, but hey, I told you so. Like, we'd be in fucking overtime and it'd be a different story right now.
Where was the Leprechaun at? I didn't see him at all.
I did see him on the wall at one point. He tends to run around the sideline. Well, TJ, we got a ton of people here. I really appreciate you jumping on here. Any last thoughts here before we get over to a couple other people?
I'm just sick of this shit, man. Sick of this. We need to get our program in order. Too much talent to. This could have been a winnable game.
I agree. I think that there were moments where we could have executed better. I think anything from players to coaching to, you could even say officiating at one point. Now, I did agree with the intentional grounding call at the end, so thank God. Is it weird that I kind of like the Big Ten refs over the ACC refs? I don't know. TJ, I really appreciate you jumping in with the emotional response. That is kind of where we're at here with this game. This is what the post-game shows are all about. So, thank you, TJ. At Miso HRNEE. We're going to follow you back here. Send you a follow there. Thank you much. Red Snapper, are you there?
Oh, yeah. I'm just
What's
still
up, co-host?
heated. Oh, I'm heated.
I want to get Red Snapper. This is my co-host, my brother, Red Snapper 1998. We didn't introduce ourselves. This is the Fighting Irish Faithful Show. I'm Joe at Faithful_Irish on Twitter, now the X, whatever. And this is Fighting Irish Faithful on Leprechauns Media. This is episode 100. Definitely not what I wanted to do. I would rather be drinking a Bamora right now, but that didn't seem appropriate, so we went back to Cuddy Sark.
Nice. Yeah, I'm frustrated. Our last offensive series with how we marched down the field, the play call,
nothing.
no passes. I was upset about that. But okay.
Did a screen pass and a fucking draw on 3rd and 15? Are you out of your mind? Do you want to win the game or not?
I absolutely cannot stand prevent defense, and when I saw that, I went batshit
and another
crazy.
thing, pick a fucking running back. Why do we need 6 of them?
I would have gone just with Estime and Payne at that point.
Yeah,
exactly.
What I don't understand is the entire game. We had this amazing screenplay and crossing route, our 2 best passing plays the entire game, and we never threw crossing routes or a screen again.
Mm-hmm.
Tyree's crossing route, where the fuck was that the rest of the game? He had one catch for 24 yards.
We did get away with a lot of holding too, though. I noticed that.
I actually think it went both ways. I there was multiple times I was yelling at the TV for holding, but then I'm with you there, TJ. I'm just like, yeah, maybe we're getting away with it. They're getting away with it, and part of me kind of appreciates the officials letting the guys play. I don't know.
No calls.
I don't mind the physical route running.
That seems legit.
Football, I like it. Touchdown USC. I don't mind that. I kind of like that. If it's not like, cutting somebody down from the route.
But for me, we didn't play call them. Like, where were these crossing routes?
But it seems like, we were calling cover 3s when we should have been doing cover 2s, doing man when we should have been zone. It was just.
You can dissect the game left, right, upside and downside. At the end of the day, what matters is they put more points on than we did, which is unfortunate. Now, in hindsight, it's always 2020. I'll say this, a team, Ohio State that was averaging, a crap ton of points, quite frankly.
40 points, yeah.
They were averaging 40 a game. Okay, now we were averaging 46. Okay, fine. Yeah, this was a defensive fist fight, this game. Okay, and I didn't expect that. You didn't expect that, TJ. I don't think anyone in America thought this was going to happen. Certainly none of those goofballs on College Game Day thought that. If someone had said this is going to be a fist fight, I'd say they're freaking ludicrous. But that's what happened. Now, what I will say is we'll give to Vegas because the over-under was like 3 points or whatever. So that's interesting.
Spread was 3.
Yeah.
Our passing, our passing was not there. We were struggling for these seam slot tight end routes, it seemed. We weren't getting, wide out one, huge, freaking streaks down.
Yeah.
It seemed like we were having trouble finding those soft in between zone defense pockets.
Yeah, it's if you look at just total yard points in this game, that's a shout out to you, Irish Titanus. We'll get to you in a minute here. And TJ, I really appreciate you. Total yards, Ohio State 366, Notre Dame 350. We're splitting hairs at this point. 16 yards difference in a game like this. Notre Dame, their completion percentage was actually better, but we'll save this for the next person. But when I look at the breakdown of yards and who had what, it's a little surprising. I was not expecting this. So, hey, TJ, we're going to jump to someone else. I really appreciate you. Feel free to listen on. We kind of like to hit everybody individually and then go on to the next person. Jimmy Joe, I see that you've requested. Just hang on tight. We want to get to Irish Tightness next because he was on first, and then we'll just kind of go around the horn. So, Jimmy Joe, you're on deck. TJ, just stay mute, or whatever. We'll bring you back on. Irish Tightness, we brought you on if you wish to speak because I saw that you were next. You there? Pink button, lower left-hand corner.
Oh, hey, there you go. All right, how are you, sir?
Yo, yo, yo. Well, I wish I was drinking more and not Cuddy Sark. I'll just say that.
You're drinking, Yeah, that's got to count for something.
Yeah, I usually do 3-4 beers during the game, but this was a 5-beer game. And here we are. So, yeah, what do you think, Irish Tightness, of this Notre Dame Ohio State game? I thought it was a fist fight, personally.
Yeah, so I missed the first quarter and probably half the second quarter. I was outside screwing around with my kids, looking for leaves and whatnot. We're just playing around. So I didn't realize that Notre Dame had like a drive. Their first drive, they got down to the Ohio State 20. Yep. And then, went for it on 4th and 1, came away with no points. And then the next one, what made me look at it was when you mentioned the missed field goal. So, they were down in the red zone twice in the first quarter, and yield no points. I didn't realize that. When I turned it on, to your point, it was 0-0, and I was like, man, this is really a slugfest here. But must have been a lot of punts, Nope.
Notre Dame didn't punt until the third drive. Their first one was a turnover and downs, as you said, which I think should have been a fucking field goal, which I think was a complete, boo-boo by Coach Freeman, quite frankly. I think that was a bad decision. And then the missed field goal. I mean, it was a 47-yarder. It's pretty far out there.
Yeah, so that's not a chip shot by any means. But it's and perhaps they. Again, I didn't see it, but perhaps they overcorrected. I mean, that might have been one where you're like, hey, we got down here last time. We should have taken the points. We didn't. Now here we are at the 30 instead of the 20. We at least got to try to get one on the board. And I don't know, what hash it was on or much about the kicker.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, it would have been a 36-yard field goal if I do the math right. Based off of what I see here, would have been a 36-yard field goal in that first drive if we were at the Ohio State 18, and based off of what I'm seeing here, it would have been a mid-30s field goal, which and quite frankly, if he had gone for a field goal instead, I don't think too many people would be pissed. I personally think some of our fans, or just college football fans in general, I don't want to call anyone out specifically, but people are like, they get greedy, and it's like, it's the first fucking quarter. It's the first fucking drive. Just kick a fucking field goal and get some fucking points. I'm so absolutely pissed with this call by Marcus Freeman. I thought it was terrible. I said to my wife, I said, the doc, I'm like, that was a bad decision. You should have just kicked a field goal. Get some points. It's a big game. It's a big opponent, night game. Like, just get some points on the board. Get the team a shot in the arm and get the defense rolling out there again. The defense went 3 and out in the next fucking series. We went 3 and out the next fucking series. And then we went down and we missed the field goal. Okay, that's fine. It was 47 yarders. I'm not gonna give Schrader too much shit for that. All right, shit happens. All right, like we'd be up 3-0 at the end of the first quarter.
He's an All-American in between the hashes. He should have gotten that. It was 45 yards.
This is the end of my rant. Like I had to get that out. Like I was so ticked, man. And I was like, this shit's gonna come back and bite us in the ass. And I am not a I told you so guy. I am not a I told you so guy. But this is what happened.
But I'll say this, Joe. I mean, there's a lot of coulda, woulda, shoulda. Again, I didn't see that first quarter. There's an opportunity maybe for 6 points there. Ohio State looks like they punted twice and then turned it over on downs. Either way, I mean, here's the reality is like where I picked up, it was 0-0. At half it was 3-0, and so it's not even those points.
Yeah,
like
it's
in
within
retrospect,
reach.
When you look at the final score, you're like, yes, those would have mattered. But I just want to fast forward. Like, here's where I think the game really just was. Dude, Notre Dame had this one. They were up 14-10.
Yep.
They had the ball with 2.5 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, in the end of the game.
On the 35-yard line, they had a first down.
I know exactly where you're going with this.
So, like, look, again, hey, when you look at the final score, knowing that Ohio State was still going to score and you wish you had those 3 points or 6 points, true. Either way, like, with 2.5 minutes left in the game, Notre Dame has the lead. They have the ball. They have a first down at their own 35-yard line. That is ample time for a competent team to run the clock out.
We just marched 96 yards to
100%. 100%. The previous 2 drives, one was 13 plays for 75 yards. 10 of those 13 plays were rushes, and it was a 7.5 minute drive. And then the drive after that was 11 plays for 96 yards, goes 6.5 minutes, and 7 of 11 of those plays were runs. So with a team that's running the ball that well, that has
we ran the ball 60% of the time. Our rushing average was 4.5 yards per fucking carry. We had 176 rushing yards versus their 125. It's absolutely ludicrous what we had to fucking punt in that last fucking drive.
And that was the game.
The coach's timeouts too at the end of the game, horrible times to pick the timeouts. He didn't do them correctly.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I think you could say, hey,
he had to bail Hartman out because it was going to be a delayed game. So there's one of them.
Well, I just like with 2.5 minutes and a good running game in the lead, you got to be able to run the clock out and just keep the ball in bounds, run it out, game, set, match. And and at that point, if you don't give the ball back to Ohio State, the missed field goal doesn't matter. Like, who cares?
I agree with you there.
In fact, it would have almost been better. I hate to say this, almost would have been better for that screen pass to have been picked off, and it damn near was a pick six. And it would have been better for that to have been yanked and Ohio State score there, to where at least Notre Dame had the ball back and goes into 2-minute offense where they get it last. As soon as they punted, not to mention they got a false start penalty before the punt, so you're already punting. You're 4th and 17 from your own 30. I mean, dude, as soon as they kicked the ball and gave it to Ohio State with that much time left, I mean, it's ball game. It's just the writing was on the wall. I think that's really where the game was lost, is when that drive stalled out. Notre Dame's chance of winning went, even though they had the lead, they gave the ball back. Their chance of winning went down to 20% at that point.
Well, when you have a high-powered offense, when you have a team with a coach that has a fucking, sniffing 90% win percentage and a recruiting average of 3.8, right? If we could only be so lucky, it's like, look, that's when talent just kind of takes over, and credit to Ohio State, they won the game, like, I don't want to take anything away from them, they came back, they won the game, great,
fucking interception. Who's that fucking asshole that dropped that wide open fucking interception?
Brown.
Well, those are kind of.
It was like Asante Samuel.
Those things happen. No one had a turnover in this game. This is a pretty clean game. I don't want to throw individuals under the bus here for individual freak plays like that, but I think Wes, at Irish Tightness, you've got some legit points there about like I was pissed when we had to punt, and it's like, look, you have the ball, we already had a huge stop on our end, and then this kind of crap happens. I'm just like,
it would have been one thing if you would have punted from 50 or from their 40. Yeah, it would have been different if you stopped,
put them back inside the 10.
Drive
right?
stalls out and you punt with like 30 seconds left or 20 seconds left, and they're starting with.
There was like a minute 45 left on the clock. What was that?
There was way too much time.
Way too much time.
And way too short of a field. It really that's where
a minute 26 was left on the clock. That's way too much time.
had it won. Up until that point, they had it won. Regardless of all the things that happened before, again, you could coulda, woulda, shoulda, every missed pick, every incomplete pass, every sack, every missed field goal, every time you punted. All those things, just take them all out of the equation. The game was won. You have the lead with 2.5 minutes. You've got the ball at a first down in a tremendous running game that just ripped off 180 yards rushing in 15 minutes of drives in your previous 2 drives. All you need to do is run the clock out.
We're not talking about like a missed pick, like I'm jumping up Odell Beckham style. I'm talking about a ball inherently thrown incorrectly straight to the defensive back in the numbers.
Well, it was not in the numbers. It was over his head. That's for sure.
It was.
It was over his head. Well, hey, guys, we've got a ton of people. We want to get everyone's reaction. I really appreciate everyone's passion and energy. TJ, I appreciate Wes at Irish Tightness. Really appreciate you guys and your insight. These are... Hey, this is why we do the post-game show. You know, we're Notre Dame fans. You know, we're here to get the emotion immediately afterwards, right? I'm 5 beers in and, you know, half a scotch down. Let's go. All right.
Cheers, buddy. Appreciate your time. Congrats on episode 100.
I appreciate it. I wish it was under different circumstances, but...
And nothing's wrong with Sweet Child in Time by freaking...
Thank you. I'm glad. That was the elevator music. That was not the intro to the podcast that people will hear. Hey, you know, I have to say this. I think a Red Snapper knows. Definitely, the wife knows this. When so I went to grad school at Notre Dame, but I did my undergrad at Gonzaga University. And when GU went to the finals, what was that, 2021, and they got boat race. That was a fucking death bucket. Wes, you'll appreciate that. That was a death bucket of a college basketball game for Gonzaga fans. Baylor beat the shit out of Gonzaga. They didn't have a chance, you know, the first, 2 minutes of the ball game. On the way home, and the doc was pregnant with our firstborn at the time. I played that in the car, and of course she was the designated driver. Yay for pregnant wives. We played that song. That might have been the last time I played that song, was on the drive home. Just it doesn't really wrap it up. So, all right, guys. Let's see here. Jason Yeager, Jimmy Joe, Pablo, Susan, and Owen. All right, let's jump over to Jimmy Joe here. Thank you, Wes. Thank you, TJ. We'll invite at Jimmy _ Joe 24. Not from Calcutta. I think from Idaho. Jimmy Joe.
Hello, namaste, Mr. Irish Polishman.
Namaste.
Namaste. I am so sad we lost the game. We were doing so very, very well.
I know.
How come Mr. Hartman wasn't throwing the ball more when he could have thrown it better?
I imagine, Jimmy Joe, you're referring to the fourth quarter there, that last drive, that last offensive drive, if we want to use air quotes on that.
Yes.
Yeah, that was, and I think you're feeding off of what Irish Tightness was talking about there. You know, I'm with you, Jimmy Joe. I do not agree with what happened on that drive. I mean, there's multiple things I don't agree with this game, but at the end of the day, it doesn't change the fact that Notre Dame has one loss on their record here. Now, is the season over? No, we don't have to get all macro just yet, but with respect to that particular drive or this particular game, it sucks. This sucks.
Well, okay, I understand the end of the game is a problem. But even in the game when it started, I was very, very frustrated with the defense.
Mm-hmm.
How many times can we not tackle the first time? Hit the man, have him hit the ground, and not let him grunt another 5, 10, 15 yards. You add up all those times, and all of a sudden you're going to cross the whole field.
Yes. Jimmy Joe's all over it.
Mr.
Missed
Number
tackles
20.
were a big
Mr.
problem.
Number
Jimmy Joe
20,
may
I
be
wrote
from
it down.
Calcutta, but
You kept
he
missing them.
clearly understands our missed tackles. That's the first time we've had multiple, myself included, four people on this podcast. It takes our fifth person to finally highlight the missed tackles by our defense. Now, granted, did the defense do okay? And I think holding off, Ohio State to what they were, yeah, it's great, but it could have been better. I think that's what you're getting at, Jimmy Joe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr.
No,
Number
it's
20
unacceptable.
should go to school and learn how to tackle better.
Everybody hit. Nobody tackling.
Just wrap up, right? Too much just shoulder just bump into him. This isn't CYO or whatever.
Too much leaving your feet for contact.
Just wrap up. Gosh, just grab something.
People were leaving their feet.
Head up,
to make
wrap
these
up, drive your
crazy
feet.
hits and gave them opportunity to make a move and either miss them or completely just dodge them.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to take the Band-Aids on, and then next week we're going to do better.
I certainly hope so. We got was it Duke next? Fuck. Yeah, just
Duke looked good too today.
Yeah, they did.
Duke. Who's their coach? Who's it? Is it Elko? I think it's Elko.
They look good though.
We'll have to look this up. I'm like 99% sure it's Elko.
Duke is always like that trap.
It is Mike Elko. Unless Google's lying to my face. Jimmy Joe, what else? All right, you got missed tackles here. Hartman, did you let me ask you this, Jimmy Joe. Did you like we talk about things like yards per point and attempts per touchdown and stuff like that. Like are you surprised that Notre Dame's offense got stymied so badly by Ohio State? Or are you like, hey, look, it's Ohio State, it's a big time program, we should expect both teams to struggle?
Oh, no. It was a problem with the defense.
Yeah. I mean,
I think for me,
you could always say that, they scored more points than we did, right?
What I saw was just how stout their pass rush was. And it makes you understand why Javonte transferred was because he was behind all those guys.
Oh, sure.
And he wasn't going to play. So that right there stood out like neon sign clear. Their pass rush was stymieing our run. It was creating problems for the offensive line. And the offensive line did great. Don't get me wrong. But you saw a difference in their pass rush versus ours.
Here's a question for Jimmy Joe. True or false? Jimmy Joe, who did either team record a sack?
Yes. The other team sacked us.
Negative.
Once.
No.
No?
We had zero sacks against Notre Dame. Now, technically, they counted the intentional grounding call at the end as a sack. But, if you really just focus on what actually happened on the field, neither team had a sack. Now, what I've been saying for the last, couple weeks, that one thing that concerns me about our defense is our ability to make sacks. I mean, right now, coming into this game, Notre Dame was ranked 106 in the fucking country in sacks per game, averaging 1.5 per game. Clearly, we got 0. Now, Ohio State wasn't much better. I will say that. They were 93rd in the country, averaging 1.67. National champions averaged 2.9. So, this concerns me. Now, other things are doing okay with the defense. I will say that, and I'm using air quotes on okay. But I think if, and I've said this for a couple weeks, that the pass rush, the D line specifically, it's okay if you can keep, the quarterback, especially a running quarterback, kind of in his lane. But when he's got time to find, qualified, athletic, gifted receivers that Ohio State has, it's fine. You know, it's just like practice back there. So
We can't get off the edge.
yeah.
And if the only way we could get pressure is if we brought in a linebacker, but our defensive ends, their left blindside guard was phenomenal, and then the times where we were trying to set, they would do a hurry up and catch us with their hands on our hips, trying to set for the next play, and then we would get burned for a 15-yarder or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, the outcome of the game is it's really frustrating as a Notre Dame fan to like get to this point. You think you start to have the pieces together, and then it's like once again we're just reminded that nope, we don't have it. And is it a function of talent? Is it a function of some this, that, and the other? I mean, don't get me wrong. I think if, like, say, Brian Kelly was our coach or Tommy Rees was our offensive coordinator, God forbid, or we didn't have Hart. I will say this. If either of those two guys were still at Notre Dame, there's no way in hell Hartman would be at Notre Dame. He'd be at some other program. So thank you, Coach Freeman and Gino Gaduli. But the fact that we as Notre Dame fans who live, and breathe and bleed with this program, it's really disappointing to have this experience. Now, thank God, we weren't boat raced and it was a close game and this, that, and the other. But that still doesn't change the fact that we lost. Does it mean a lot? Yeah, I don't know. I mean. There's nothing that I can say that's going to make me quote unquote feel better other than, a win. A win would have felt better. But it didn't happen. So.
Oh, their coach, he goes on and on that, they did so good and they fought so good and they were so talented. And then he knocked Mr. Holtz. I did not like that.
Up there.
I as soon as they confirmed the play call at the end of the game, I turned it off. I didn't even watch any of the remainder of this. I just jumped back in the studio and got ready for this. So I have no idea what Ryan Day said.
He took objection to Lou Holtz's pregame.
I posted it up on top of your little thing.
All right. Well, we'll have to go back
and then they keep interviewing him, and we couldn't hear the Notre Dame people do their alma mater.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's a home game.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong, Jimmy Joe. I mean, at the end of the day, that's pretty, par for the course with the press. Just interview the coach that wins, right? I mean, respect aside and alma maters aside, we're not playing Navy. I don't know. I mean, just thank God we don't have any Ohio State people on tonight because there'd just be a bunch of, egotistical a-holes. But, yeah, that's just kind of where we're at. Well, Jimmy Joe, really appreciate you. We got a bunch of other people. We want to try to get their opinion.
Okay, nice talk to you. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, Jimmy Joe.
Namaste, Jimmy Joe.
All right. Jason Yeager, you've been invited to speak. Are you in Youngstown? Jason Yeager. Long time no see. Red Snapper, where do we go as a program right now? Like, is this just something like we're screwed, or is just something more like, No,
it's definitely, I would say the majority of the mistakes were not player mistakes, they were coaching mistakes. So I think this is a Sunday meeting with the coaches, and let's be honest, let's be real, and let's, free game. What are the comments? Where could we have done better from the other people's perspective? And hopefully they're open to that kind of criticism within the coaching staff, because
I hope so.
Marcus Freeman's call for the first 4th and 1, I agree with you. Should have kicked it, and okay, let's go. You got the whole game.
Kick the fucking field goal. God bless
There's
America.
certain sports the time of the game matters. When you're first inning,
Just
and you're facing a
get some
brand new
points on the
pitcher,
board. Give the team a shot in the arm.
Yeah, you
Make Ohio State feel some pressure. Gosh darn it.
It was coaching errors left and right. So it was things like that. It was why when we were using two back sets, we were running
not fucking the bus.
When we were in two back sets and we were running the ball, we were unstoppable. Why we didn't stay in that, why we weren't in that the last offensive series, that's a huge mistake. And then we had success the previous two defensive series of bringing pressure and creating, a little bit of panic from McCord. Why did we all of a sudden drop into a prevent defense? Bring the fucking pressure.
Yeah. I mean, they brought some towards the end. So I have a question for Jason Yeager, longtime listener, infrequent contributor, I will say. Jason Yeager, welcome back. I have a question for you. When Notre Dame scored their rushing touchdown with the Wildcat, what were you thinking?
Why, first of all, but RTDB.
Yeah. Run the damn ball. I actually love that. At the end, throw a Wildcat in there and just be like, oh, okay, this is what's happening.
So first, let me start off. I have been traveling a lot for work, so I finally got a chance to jump on, and this was unfortunately the perfect time for me to jump on because you guys are probably the only ones that will understand what I say here. The moment that we
because we're intellectually intelligent.
The RTDB did not happen on that final drive, which was I still am sick over that. All I felt was 05, and
I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking push all over again.
The moment that screen pass was knocked down, I turned to my wife, my 7-year-old, who literally was half tears when I was mother effing the TV. But the moment that happened, I turned to my wife and said, "It's 05 all over again. Just watch." And it almost played out exactly, except for at least we had 11 people on the field when the Bush push happened. We only had 10. Did not know that until right before I jumped on here.
Whoa,
so I don't know if you saw that.
Back the butts up. What happened?
The last play, we did not have a D end in the game. We only had 10 players on the field. Where they scored the touchdown?
No.
Where they scored the touchdown, they ran it right at that empty D end.
No.
This is 1,000,000% on the coaches. Nothing else. I don't
We
care
had 10 guys on the fucking field?
Yep. Coming out of a timeout, and Freeman said he noticed it right before the play happened, but he was worried about a penalty. There is 3 seconds left. I don't care if you get a penalty.
Penalty doesn't matter. So what? Whether you're taking a snap on the one or the half, it doesn't really matter.
It does, exactly. And when you're going, they literally. That's why you saw the play ran so quickly at that spot because there was nobody there. So this game was coaching. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I don't care how bad Hartman, as much as I love him, the biggest thing that anybody said outside, me being now that I travel way too much, I'm down south a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That was the biggest thing that people told me was watch out for those big games. He shrinks in big games. He did. A little bit. He still played near the fourth quarter. He still played his butt out.
I mean,
I am not blaming this on him at all.
I don't want to take anything away from Hartman. I mean, this is probably the biggest game. Well, that exactly, and this is and he had a great pass, touchdown pass to Rico Flores, and he was decent tonight, and look, this game was going to be a battle. unless Ohio State cratered, which clearly doesn't look like they will. This is going to propel them, through the rest of their season up until they play Michigan. Let's face it. It's going to be another Michigan-Ohio State kind of situation because Michigan's schedule is dog shit.
Yep.
But look, he only had 174 yards. With credit to him, it's one touchdown pass. He's been averaging a lot more than that.
But
that's breaking news for me. I did not go back and analyze any of that. And if that is true, that we had 10 guys on the fucking field and they had 11.
Just fast forwarded the recording to the replay of the last play, and it's 10 people. Clearly,
it's 10 people. It's all over. It's all over X, whatever this thing's called now. But it's all over the place.
I'm still calling it Twitter, but people. Yeah, it's probably
me
X,
too. But that was one thing I had to get off my chest. But I do have a couple more things, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
The coaching was 100% the reason. The tackling.
You're echoing Jimmy Joe right now.
Yes. The only thing we can blame on the players is tackling. Everything else, they played their butts off. Sorry, and
what's wrong with balls? What you anti-balls? What's your problem?
So the front end suffers instead of the rear end, like most times.
We cuss on this podcast. We drink scotch. This isn't. When YouTube asks me if my show is appropriate for children, I say no.
And that was the other thing too, is you posting that earlier today / last night. I can't remember now because I'm pretty lit up. I use Google Podcasts, so I found that I can now download you on there. So I am pumped about that.
Dude, I'm everywhere, man. I'm on Apple. I'm on Spotify,
I'm not an Apple
YouTube.
guy.
What?
I'm an Android guy.
Oh, so you're Android. Then just go Spotify. What's your deal?
Because I have my podcast through Google Podcasts. So now
Google
that I know
does
that
podcasts, what does Google not do? Does Google do banking? Can I transfer my banking to them? Okay, I'm done.
They probably do.
What is it? The Alphabet Company, whatever it is. Okay, moving on.
But I just looking. I honestly, outside of coaching this game, I can't blame anybody else. Tackling, yes, but outside of coaching this game, I'm out. What I want to say is, looking forward, that's it. If they tackle, we're undefeated this year, and I don't care about USC. I kind of want to turn the page already because it's just I can't think of the Bush push anymore. I was at that game. I was half crying at that game.
I was getting Bush push vibes. I was like, fuck, not again, not again, not again, not again.
As soon as that tipped pass, I was out. I was done. I was ready to turn it off, honestly, because
I'm literally holding my son, like when it's like third or fourth or whatever it fucking was, and they get another conversion. Then they get another conversion. I'm like, can we just stop them?
Remember, I'm in Youngstown, Ohio. I'm in Ohio State country. I have yet.
You're closer to Pittsburgh than you are Columbus. You come on.
Well, everybody here is. So
physically, you are closer to Pittsburgh.
I'm in Columbus territory.
Yeah, I guess so.
Everybody here is Ohio State territory. Let me rephrase that then.
Okay.
But I'm a Browns fan also, so I'm used to stabbing over and over again.
Stabbing your eyes out with spoons. Okay.
So I had to watch the rest of it, but it was one of those things. I expected it, and that's what's horrible, and that's what sucks.
It does suck. Well, Jason, I really appreciate it. We got a ton of people. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people at least we want to get to you. Coach Bar, CJ and Scott, Jason Lynch, Pablo, and who's this last person? Owen. We need to get some of these people. I'm gonna let Red Snapper pick the next guy. Looks like it's Coach versus Eugene. Coach, go for it.
First off, never, ever, ever wear the green jerseys again. Ever. Certainly not with green pants. That looks like shit.
I kind of like the jerseys, but the fact that it's Under Armour is still showing sweat doesn't really matter.
Not when you're playing a big opponent. You never win when you do it, so throw them in the trash and light them on fire. They are useless from now on.
We haven't. When was the last time we wore green jerseys and won? Yeah, I don't know.
Cal last year.
That's not a big opponent.
Exactly. That proves my point. We can't win when we wear green against a big opponent. 2, we don't get. There's no such thing.
Let me turn you up. Hold on, Coach. Let me turn you up. This is a 2-time national championship coach who's speaking. Go for it.
We no longer get a participation trophy for never playing a less than D1 opponent. We don't get a trophy for a moral victory. So that is a complete bogus argument. I don't care how well we played. It didn't get us the win. Third thing.
Hard to argue.
Why have we adopted the Alabama Crimson Tide field goal kicker mentality at Notre Dame?
Explain.
We've not seen kicking this bad since Kyle Brenza. I tweeted earlier, where is Justin Yoon? I wish we could get him back.
Everyone wishes they had the Notre Dame football leading scoring, leader of all time. It's Yoon.
Good grief. Brian Kelly's best player in all of his time at Notre Dame, Justin Yoon.
Was Justin
Yoon. I don't think he ever missed.
I agree. Can't argue with
this guy. When has anything good ever come out of South Florida?
Well, Schrader's a transfer. Like, we had a transfer last year. Okay. So, I don't know. We had, who do we have after Yoon? It was, what's this guy with the hair?
Yeah, and he shit the bed in the bowl game.
He wasn't better than Yoon, and it's kind of hard shoes to fill. But I don't know. Like I remember when I was a student, Nick Tausch was kicking PATs, and it was like, pull your rosaries out when he's kicking a fucking PAT. And nothing against Nick Tausch, but it's just like, oh man, we'll find out, if this is gonna work. But this team is far above what we were, with Nick Tausch, obviously. Cause I will say this, if it was a Brian Kelly or a Weiss or whatever team, we would have gotten blown.
Oh, we lose by double digits.
We would have gotten blown the fuck out. Now, that shouldn't be a warm blanket we wrap ourselves in, right? Cause we could have and should have won this football game, and people, our fans, of this podcast have jumped on, Notre Dame fans have jumped on and said, hey, these are some of the reasons why I think we could have done better, or this, that, and the other. Perfectly fine. I'm not going to argue with that. That's why we do post-game shows. Coach, you're saying that, like, are you saying that, like, Schrader just needs to do better, or, like, he could have made that field goal on our second drive, or where are you going with this?
I'm saying clean his locker out. I'd cut it.
Really?
You were brought on to.
It was a 47-yard field goal for a college guy.
He's like what? Under 50% now on made field goals?
I don't have any of the statistics on Yoon. Like, I'm sure. Okay, maybe not Yoon because he was pretty fucking awesome. But it's like if we took Schrader versus, other kickers in D1, like I really think, no disrespect, Coach, but I really think that's splitting hairs if we're gonna quote unquote blame the kicker.
I don't just blame the kicker. We win the game if he makes that field goal.
Well, you could go back to the first drive. Like, he could have kicked a 36-yarder, and we would have forced overtime or whatever. If you know what I'm saying, like, I'm hesitant to start blaming specific scenarios on players because let's face it, these guys are significantly younger than me. You're buried outside the bookstore.
Hartman's pushing it.
Kickers, I've always had the feeling that kickers are like 3-point shooters in basketball. You give them a couple early field goals.
Unless you're Stephen Curry.
Well, yeah, but
or Reggie Miller.
You give them a couple extra like early field goals, a couple quick PATs, and they're in their zone. When you go in cold and you've passed on him twice, and now he's got to kick a 47-yarder, he's coming in cold. He has no feel for the game. He hasn't been on the field.
Yep.
To me, that first drive should have been a
this
field
green
goal
jersey. It feels different. You know, I'm not kicking in my normal blue, right? And my gold ass sweat pants.
My other blames for the loss are Freeman for not pushing it more than he should have on that final offensive possession.
Yep. You and like, Irish tightness saying the same thing.
He quit. I understand you want to run the clock, melt the clock, but you got 2 first downs and then you just start bumbling and fumbling and making mistakes. I don't understand that. Yeah. And Al Golden, get him out. Get him out now. I don't care if you have an interim D coordinator.
Whoa. Back the bus up. I may disagree with you, Coach. I mean, let's face it. You're taking a team with 3.8 ranked talent who's averaging
and 10 people on the field for the final 2.
That's not necessarily his fault. You know, like we don't know what's going on the sideline. You know, maybe they're screaming. Maybe the coaches are screaming, you know, a particular coverage or a particular package or whatever, and some knucklehead.
Timeout, though?
Look, we're not there. We're not on the sideline. We don't actually know what's happening. All I'm saying is a team that has averaged, granted against shitty opponents, including IU, okay, they're averaging 40 points a fucking game, and they only put up 17, less than half. Okay, this is not Brian Kelly teams of yore, you know, Notre Dame versus Miami, where we get fucking boat raced 38 to 3 or something.
Did they have them on 3rd and long? In that final series.
Yeah, but how many times did we also stop them at goal line in red zone?
That's what I'm saying. You can manipulate the argument either way you want.
Screw up and let 10 people on the field. Brian Kelly boat raced Al Golden. Believe it or not, Brian Kelly destroyed Al Golden when he was at Miami.
No. Golden wasn't coaching in that game technically.
In 2012?
No. Oh, in 2012.
Sure?
Okay, 2012. Yeah. I thought you were talking about the Sun Bowl.
No, not the Sun Bowl. I'm talking 2012.
Yeah, but Miami was coming off of like whatever, and I'm not trying to give a boat to Miami. You know, fuck that team. I hate Miami, but they're my third most hated team. My whole point is like, I'm not gonna hold that against Golden. Like look, everyone's emotional about this game, and it's like if I want to pick particular moments in the game where I think we could have done better, then that's perfectly fine. But I think to just throw the baby out in the bathwater based off of particular moments, I'm not 100% about that. Now, if we had lost by 21, 28, you know, blown the spread out the window, you know, Marvin Harrison had 3 touchdowns. That fucker had nothing. Okay? And you go on social media or the internet.
Look at it. We let a nobody first-year starting quarterback just pick us apart.
Well, can you blame him though? Like, I'm not trying to take neither. Number one, I'm not trying to take anything away from their quarterback. I don't even know his fucking name. I'm sure it's in the notes from last week.
Exactly my point.
McCord. It's in last week's notes. Well, Tuesday's notes. McCord. Okay, look. Here's the deal. He has a fantastic line in front of him. You just like. Let me ask this question, Coach. Did you look at the players for Ohio State physically? Just fuck all the stats, fuck all this other stuff. Just look at the players for Ohio State. Look at their physical build. Look how massive they are. I'm not saying that's an excuse. I'm just saying, like, just look at them. They're massive. These guys are huge. We're looking at top 5, top 4 talent in the country. Ohio State has good players. They have great players. Okay? And I'm not saying, like, quote, oh, we're lucky because we, just lost by 3 points. No, we should have fucking won this game. My whole point is just, like, he's got great players and great line in front of him. And our D line is do I think our D line has shown in the previous 4 games that we've played that they have demonstrated that they can attack quarterbacks? The answer is no. Therefore, you go to a bend don't break. You stay discipline assignment. You try to contain McCord and holy shit, I got a cat doing God knows what in this room. Sorry. Fuck, where was I? Look, he's the quarterback of Ohio State. He doesn't suck, all right? Is he better than Hartman? The answer is no. But is he playing behind a really good O-line and against potentially a team with less talent on the D-line? The answer is yes. Okay, and anyone who wants to argue with me, like, just pull up recruiting stats, all right? I don't even have to argue this. My whole point is, despite all of that, Notre Dame still showed heart. They still, held them under very particular situations, and we lost by 3 points. Could it have been avoided? Absolutely. And I think multiple people, including myself, has come out here and expressed that.
And if Ohio State gets destroyed by Michigan for a 3rd year in a row, when Michigan
I don't think that's going to happen.
Recruiting,
I don't think that's going to happen.
Michigan
was struggling against fucking, who did they play? Rutgers today?
And they pulled away at the end, 31-7.
Yeah, because it's fucking Rutgers. Gosh, I mean. All right, Coach, we got a bunch of people. We're going to try to get on. I went to Mass tonight, so, it's going to be a late night. Doc already knows this. She grabbed the baby, went into the bunker, right? Coach Roy CGN, I really appreciate you jumping on and challenging us with excellence. Look, Coach, you're not wrong in anything you say. You're a 2-time national champion, and look, this sucks. All right, this absolutely sucks. We wanted to play much better music, have a much more fun podcast, and we'd rather be in a different situation. But Notre Dame now has a loss. We're 4-1 or whatever the fuck we are. And, this sucks.
It's deja vu all over again.
Well,
it seems like this
I don't know if it's deja vu because you look at the score, it's a lot different from, say, Miami or Ohio State in 2015.
Ohio State game down to the last play of the game. It's not deja vu. With BK, we were never in those games.
I mean, I'm trying to rack my brain the last time we lost a quote-unquote close game at home, not Marshall, against a good team. Like that's a question for another time. All right, Coach, we're going to move on to other people. We got a bunch of people, and then eventually I do want to go to bed and kind of forget all this bullshit. Scott, I see you there. Scott Bank.
What's up, gentlemen?
Banky, First Source Banky. Scott, yes. Welcome to the Fighting Irish State.
What's going on, boys?
Yo.
I just want to say, I think our players played their asses off.
I agree.
At all positions, right? And our coaching ultimately cost us this game. I think game plan on the last drive when we had the ball, we could have ran the ball and stuffed it down their throat, forced them to use their timeouts, and we would have walked off with the dub. Or, at least slang the ball till we got in field goal range, kicked a field goal, called it a game.
Yeah. I agree.
It's disheartening. I feel like it's It happens to us all the time and every year. I don't know what to do. It's like, man, this should have been the game where I feel like we had them in our grasp. And this was the game that we were going to put ourselves on the national spotlight saying we are legit.
Yep.
We are here. Coach Freeman's legit. Our offensive coordinator is legit. Al Golden's legit. And our team is going to be a national champion contender.
Yeah.
And it just... I'll let you guys speak, but I feel like it just like the last two drives of the game, our offensive drive and our defensive drive on the last two were completely backwards to how we played the entire game. And that's what cost us the game. Like, I feel like those last two drives we played scared instead of how we did the rest of the entire game.
Especially the end of the game. But I mean, the end of the game is it is what it is. But when Notre Dame took the lead, I do want to talk about this because Notre Dame got the ball, from the fucking 4-yard line.
Yeah, we were inside the 5.
We went 11 plays, 96 yards, and we scored. And I turned to the doc and I was like, "Wait, didn't we started on 5?" And she's like, "Yeah, we did." She looks up from her phone, and the baby's there, high on chocolate milk or whatever. And I'm just like, oh, okay, this is great. And then, we get a turnover and downs by Ohio State. This is fantastic. We pick up the ball, 1st and 10 at our own 11, complete pass, 12 yards to Flores. Boom, 1st down. Then Estime runs 11 yards, 1st down again. Then they call a timeout. And then all of a sudden, we just shit our pants.
Scared.
And it's like,
we got scared at that
you
point.
got them on the ropes. You can punch them in the throat. You can, pick whatever metaphor you want.
Yep.
You've got them. And it's about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes left in this game.
A sweep. We're just running the ball to, run the timeout. That's all we had to do.
Yes.
Well, and we were moving the ball. I don't have a problem with, especially outside the 2-minute, timeline of, throwing the ball and whatnot for first downs. Fine. And it's like, look, your best player is the quarterback. He's got experience. Why would you not just slap him on the ass and just say, hey, have a good time? Go find the open man, follow your progressions,
and put yourself in the Heisman race in Notre Dame undefeated.
Gee whiz, and that does not happen, and we don't have to get all Heisman-y or whatever, because we all know how that shit works. But, we haven't done any of this tonight. The toast tonight is I got 2. They're both on the defense. It's Javonte Jean-Baptiste and to Ben Morrison for holding Marvin Harrison to very, very, very little yards.
That was beautiful. Beautiful game.
So I mean, I don't want to take anything away from Ohio State or whatever, but it's like Harrison had, how many, let me ask this question, Scott. Do you know how many yards Harrison had?
Very little. I know that. He had, 2 catches?
He had 3 for
3 catches.
2 yards.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
Now, Egbuka, he had 96, right?
Like the non-quarterback Heisman front runner. That's insane.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, and Harrison is a fantastic talent, right? And that gives a lot of credit to BMO, for being as stank on what with him. You know what I'm saying? White on rice. Pick your favorite metaphor. What Red Snapper? What's the line from Hoosiers? Buddy, stick with him like chewing gum. I want to know what flavor he is.
Buddy. I want to know what flavor it is.
That's the kind of shit that BMO was doing. So I want to give a lot of credit to Benjamin Morrison and that's why I don't think that Al Golden should be fired or any of this other bullshit. look, again, we held Ohio State 17 points. Yes, we lost the game. It's not great. But at the same time, it's like, did anyone in America think this game was going to be 17-14? The answer is no.
No, not at all.
No way.
Thought it'd be a shootout for sure.
Absolutely. I was thinking more like 31-28 or, something like that. And we'd be winning and we'd be playing different music, but that didn't happen. And it, should have been 17-17 going to overtime. And I've already emoted about that, how that didn't happen.
Yes.
But look, I'm not the head coach. Notre Dame's not hiring me. I'm not saying they should. Don't get me wrong. There's a fuck ton I don't know about football versus what Ohio State does. But the whole point is, golly willikers, this is my way of avoiding the breaking the second commandment. I cuss like I'm somewhere else. Scott, anything else we need to know before we get to Lynch and some of these other guys?
Yeah, I'll just leave you with those last two defensive plays when we only had 10 players on the field.
Gee whiz.
That was crazy and inexcusable in my opinion. We have to hold our people accountable for that. And I don't know who needs to get up and say, man, that was my fault, but I really need to hear that from someone on that team, whether it was a player, a coach, whoever was at fault for not either putting a person out there, calling a timeout, or
we didn't have any
having a person run out there. Yeah, that's it. I think if they can't run right at that empty space on the field, which we almost stopped them still, then we win the game. And, it is what it is. But, I think Freeman's got him moving in the right direction, and we're going to be okay. We're going to be a contender. And this is a very rough spot, but we're going to get over it. So I'll leave you guys with that. Thank you for the podcast. This is fantastic. And talk to you guys later.
Well, thank you, Scott. At First Source Bank E. On the Twitter, thank you, Scott. Just threw you a follower there.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, no, it's rough here. This is a familiar that's all too. This is a feeling that's all too familiar for Notre Dame. You get to the big game and you lose. Now, if it's any consolation to Notre Dame fans, we didn't get boat raced in these big games. But this is tough. This is, I had a, 05 Bush push kind of vibe with this game. I was hoping maybe special teams or a defensive turnover, and there are a few opportunities for an interception. Didn't quite happen, with McCord or whatever, but, that shit, it comes, it's nothing we should quote unquote rely on. That's kind of where we're at. All right. Thank you, Scott. Let's see. Lynch, you there?
What's up?
Well, we're drinking Cuddy Sark, so you know what's up.
Yes. Man, that was tough. The thing that sticks out to me, even more so than not having 11 players on the field, was the missed tackles. Can we start a GoFundMe to order
you and Jimmy Joe?
Can we just ship them straight to the university?
The missed tackles is bullshit. There's no excuse for that. Just drive your shoulder and wrap up. I don't stop bouncing off of people. Just
leaving your feet.
Gee whiz! I think it was Pritchard who said from the '88 team, you tackle with your face. You tackle with your face.
Yes.
There's a reason why you have a face guard.
Absolutely.
I will say this, Lynch, the crickets in the background there in your yard or whatever are actually very soothing for me right now.
They are Loud, wicked loud.
What, you got cicadas too? That's what we got, that's for sure.
Yeah, those mostly, but there's several crickets. We got a big hayfield next door to our house.
Uh-huh.
So they've got that pretty wore out over there.
Yeah. Do you let's not just be negative tonight. Like who, I know this is like, sugar on top of, a shit sandwich, but who do you think did well tonight? Who are you? Is there something positive we can take from this game?
Jeremiah Love did exceptional.
Okay.
Like, as far as, finding the holes, making them. Both him and Jabron Payne both made really good cuts. Price was a little bit limited. I think he may have got dinged up on one of the plays. So, I don't know. He didn't make it back.
Yeah, after his 24-yard run, he came up kind of taking his right foot a little easy, I believe.
Yeah. I thought Love and Payne bolted pretty well.
And they keyed on Estime so much when he was in the game that he had a couple really good runs, but they knew what was coming.
He had a long of 22. Yeah, I mean, look, the thing that's irritating with me, at the end of the game, we were averaging 4.5 yards per carry. And we get into our final drive there that we had, not including the miracle, flea flicker, hook and ladder bullshit at the end. That's just, Ohio State's too good to let something like that happen.
Right.
But I mean, we're averaging 4.5 yards per carry. It's just like, just run it. I don't know. Like, it's terrible. It's terrible. It's not a fun feeling to have. I will say that.
No.
Do like where do we go from here for the season? Like let's step back from this game just a tad. I know it's a post game show, but do you think this is a situation where that invigorates Notre Dame as a 4-1 football team going into our next game?
I think so. I think they'll be, this will be the game that they can watch more film and break down where we went wrong outside of the missed tackles. Yeah. Like the Egbuka guy, he was just too open too many times.
Well, sure, and maybe that's a function of Ohio State just having fantastic receivers and all this good talent and all this other stuff. And it's like, look, you got to take away Harrison because he's
yeah, he was shut down.
He's number one, right? So you got to put BMO on him, and so again, toast to BMO. And that's also a half shout out to at Irish JTL who gave us the BMO Benjamin Morrison nickname there. I mean, Ohio State has good players, so they have more depth. Let me ask you this question. Do you think Notre Dame's like we don't have a receiver number one. We have like a committee of receivers, and it's like just let Hartman go through his progressions and he will find someone. Now, unfortunately, I thought that the number one receiver being Mitchell Evans was a little too much. Flores was Mitchell Evans had 7 receptions. Rico Flores had 3. So that's a huge drop off from number one receiver to number 2. But I mean, let's face it, Mitchell Evans is probably not the number one quote unquote look, right?
Right.
I'm just gonna go on a limb on that one. And there's nothing against Evans, right? He played his ass off.
Yeah, hell of a game, and that one-handed catch, unbelievable.
Yes.
Well, and what's really weird about Notre Dame is like our leading I don't have this right now. I'm not prepared for this. The going to this game, receiver wise, Holden Stays. Where the hell was he with this game? He doesn't even show up on the stat sheet.
Oh, he was run blocked the whole time, and he was didn't get really open, but there were a couple.
He's got more fucking touchdowns than any other receiver on this team. The only person who has more touchdowns than him is Estime with 5. He has 4. Why the fuck wasn't he in this game? Go double tight. I don't know. Like, look, this is the kind of shit that, like, we just kind of, like, even better if, or just kind of throw shit out as, you know, we podcast here and coach from the studio here. But I said to myself multiple times, like, where's Stays? Why is he not in this game? Maybe he was hurt. I don't know. Wasn't looking for him.
Yeah, he was in the game, but he didn't get a whole lot. He didn't get any looks at all. But he did.
I mean, maybe they were just ass covering him like no other. I don't fucking know. It's just.
Yeah, I'd have to catch that on the rewatch.
Yeah. You want to rewatch this game? Really?
Probably not.
Do you like watching your dog get hit by a car? Okay.
Rewind that. Let's see it again.
Let's watch it again, yeah. All right. Lynch, anything else we need to be left with? Or, you know, I see Owen on there. Owen, you've been very patient. We're going to get to you next.
Yeah, so outside of tackling and just getting a little more coverage over that middle is what, you know, hurt us tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, Ohio State's good receivers, you know, I mean, you give any quarterback time. Yeah, I mean, like, look, McCord is not Hartman, he's not CJ Stroud, but it's like, look, he clearly doesn't suck. He plays for Ohio State. Yeah. You know, I don't know anything particular about his statistics as far as where he went to high school and what he was ranked in his class and any of this bullshit. It doesn't matter. You play for Ohio State. They are still the kings of the Midwest, other than maybe Michigan. I don't know. Notre Dame does not have that crown yet. And you had to beat this game. You had to beat this team to maybe even make that argument. And quite frankly, that didn't happen. So we move on. We move on with our ACC schedule.
On to the next one. That's right.
On to the next one. I mean, what else can we do, right? Like we lose a tight game at home. You know, we don't have to get all macro here about playoffs and all the other bullshit. We don't need to talk about that right now. We'll let the media people talk about that. We're talking very specific about this game tonight.
Yeah. I think, you know, the rest of the season has to unfold and just see where we're at the end.
I'm with you there. Well, at Lynch Mob ND on the Twitter. Thank you very much, Jason.
Yes, sir.
All right, and go Irish. Owen, I see you there. We invite you to speak. I know you've been on for a little while. Owen at Owen Mullen 8 on the Twitter. If you want to join us tonight and give your 2 cents, give us a stat dump, give us some emotion. If you just want to come on here and say, I hate Ohio State, that's fine too.
Oh, so, I don't know. This has helped me calm down. I was not calm down, get my spirits up, because, I don't know, as soon as I saw how many more years of eligibility does this Stover guy and the E-Bug guy have? Between this year and last year, it's like we cover all their big receivers, and it's just they just find these other guys that just keep producing over and over and over again.
And you're going to have that with Ohio State with their recruiting classes. The talent
yeah,
level
because they keep fucking winning. Nothing recruits better than winning.
No, but no. When I don't remember what half it was when one of the times we actually had pressure on Kyle McCord was when he threw it. It was a tip pass. Stover caught it, and he just took off because you didn't see it I didn't see it in the replay. His knee was down, and all our defensive players were standing. I was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" But no, this Stover and that. Is it E-Bug? Is that how you pronounce that other guy's name?
Yeah, it's something like that, yeah.
He was this year and last year. I don't know if he played as big as a role last year, but he was around because we had to dedicate BMO and at least someone else to make sure.
Ibuka. Reception on crossing routes And that's what pissed me off is we had one great crossing route to Tyree. Where the hell were they the rest of the game?
And
Evo made
Tyree had one reception for 25 yards, and that's it.
Yep. And that's
I know this is a weird take, but like, I know Sam Hartman's not going to be here forever because he's a grad transfer. But
This is it.
With the people that Marcus is bringing in, is it CJ Carr?
Yep.
Is coming next year, and then is the guy they just recruited coming the year after?
Minchie.
Yeah,
well, Deuce Knight is 2025.
Yeah, so and then I know Angeli's only got in garbage time, but from what I've seen of him, he looks pretty good to serviceable. Just need to build a team. And Tobias Merriweather, I don't think I've seen a lot of him this year. Greathouse has been good as a true freshman, I believe he is.
Oh yeah, Greathouse had 2 receptions for 40 yards tonight, and then Rico Flores had 3 receptions for 20 yards and our only receiving touchdown towards the end of the game.
Yeah, no, but just building these building blocks to get better. And I have a friend or two that are Ohio State fans, but I really thought without CJ Stroud and JSN, and who else left last year? Garrett Wilson?
Bunch of people. Guys in the O-line. Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
I was like, I did take the over tonight because I was like, everybody else is saying.
Who didn't take the over?
I cashed it out for like 33 cents halfway through the game. I was like, give me my 33 cents back.
Yeah, that's right. No, like, I don't do sports betting, but I was just like looking at the over-under, and I'm just like, fuck, bet the over on this game with these two teams? Shit. And then that did not happen. I mean, for a, Notre Dame Stanford 2012 kind of game, 14-17, no one predicted this. This is a game from 1943.
And both teams were averaging over 40 points a game. Yeah.
That's what's crazy about it.
No, it was just, because one of my buddies doesn't really watch college football. I was like, the only person because I figured, I don't know, I did do a research, but I feel like Stover might be gone. Eva might still be there, but I was like, the only person I'm scared of is Harrison Jr. Mm-hmm. And my buddy's like, he's only 6 foot. I was like, look at his reception stats, please. He's going, oh my god. Because when they were playing whoever they played before us, I kept getting the ESPN push notifications, like 70-yard reception, 70-yard reception. I'm like, nice. And I was like, let's see if we can. And I don't know, it's just my other side. When he got hurt, because what's his face went flying into him, I was like, if we win, I don't want to hear all the Ohio State fans be like, oh, he was hurt or he's not 110%. But I don't know, we contained him pretty well tonight, a lot better than I thought we were. And I don't know, the future looks bright, and this just was a big ass kick in the nuts today.
Kick in the nuts. Yeah, no, it's I don't know if it's kick in the nuts or is it more just like you kind of like you got a paper cut just like opening the fucking mail and then like lemon juice got squeezed into it. Like that's what it feels like. It's like
take this gun in the West, putting the gun in the holster and shooting your own damn foot.
Well, that's a Plaxico Burst reference, but like no, the whole God forbid, gee whiz, just keep your finger off the trigger. That shit doesn't happen. But nah, the whole. I don't think you're wrong at all. This sucks. This fucking sucks. Like we should have won this fucking game, and we had the opportunities to do it. We had the opportunity to put it away. Anything from kicking a field goal in the first fucking possession to, okay, fine. Schrader could have made his kick in the second possession. Fine. To running the football more at the end of the game when we're already running the football 60% of the time. We're averaging 4.5 yards a fucking carry. To missed tackles, to this, that, and the other. Like, let's put it this way. Can we boil it down to this? You put all that shit together to 10 guys on the fucking field at the end of the game when they scored. Like
that was gonna be my next thing.
It was a complete team, coaching staff, players loss.
No, well, I wouldn't even say that. Like is it that did really Ohio State beat Notre Dame, or did Notre Dame beat themselves?
We beat ourselves without
exactly. That's my point.
Half-yard penalty on the.
I really think we are a good football team, but when it comes down to it, like, and you look at, like, we start dissecting, like, okay, what went wrong, and it's like you don't look at it and you just throw up your hands and go like, well, they got great talent. Like go back to 2012 or go back to 2015 or anything.
I'm so sick of us losing.
Well, but
because of ourselves.
But Jason, look, the point I'm making is, like, when in the last 10 fucking years has that been the case? Go to Marshall last year. Go to this game. These are the exceptions where it's like, well, Notre Dame fucked up and that's why the team lost. It's not because, like, well, we played like dog shit at Miami in 2017, or dude, Notre Dame didn't have a fucking prayer against Alabama in the BCS National Championship game in January 2013, or against Clemson of 2018, or Ohio State of 2015. Like, this is not what's happening. Like, and part of me kind of a little bit feels a little good about that, because it's like, it's not because we're dog shit or we don't have good players or we don't have good coaching. It's, well, okay, we'll pause on the coaching piece, but it's just like, we're there in this game, and it's like, right, and it's like a couple of these things just go the other way, and it's like a couple more grains of rice on the scale. This is my, like, Chinese proverb, kind of metaphor here. It's like a couple more grains of rice on the scale over here, like, tip it, and it's like you win the game, and that doesn't happen, and it's like, why can't we just get there with just a couple of little tweaks here and there? And it's like, it's not because the other team is better. They do have better players, and they have a better coach as far as win percentage and experience and all these other things. And it's just like, for heaven's sakes, if you just tweak some of these things the other way, fuck, we win the game and we're undefeated. And it's just like, that doesn't happen. And I don't know what this means, and I don't want to get all macro with the universe here, or what God is saying about Notre Dame as a program, but it's like,
I assume we're gonna see them again next year, right? And we'd go back to the shoe.
No, we're done with Ohio State for a long time.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, this is great.
No, I would rather play them again and go back to the shoe.
No, the next non-conference conference, quote unquote, game next year is Texas A&M at Kyle Field, which I am gonna desperately try to go to. So, well, Owen, I really appreciate you. We're gonna get some boots on the ground response to someone who's hopefully home and poured himself a cold one. Thank you, Owen. Adam Dowling, welcome to the show.
Hello.
All right, we're going to shut up. We're going to let you talk. Go.
How can something happen twice almost the exact same way?
Elaborate.
Yes.
Elaborate. I think I know what you're saying, but I want to.
Push, and then this.
Yep. That's exactly how I feel.
It was almost identical.
Yeah, at least it wasn't 4 and 18 or whatever the fuck it was in 2005. But you're not wrong. I was having so many flashbacks. I was literally holding my child at the point, and I'm like, "Oh God, no, not again."
Something, guys. Though, my biggest issue with the game, well, is really two things.
It could be three.
The first thing was.
Wait. Let me pour more scotch as you keep going, because I know, Adam, you've got... Anyone who doesn't know, Adam Dowling is a loyal member of the show. and he has some legit seats in the stadium, and so he provides a very factual, evidence-based, boots-on-the-ground response to everything we see in Notre Dame Stadium. Adam, go.
I think we talked on Tuesday, and I mentioned if we don't get a pass rush, we don't have a chance. And I said it's going to come down to the pass rush. If he looks comfortable, we're going to lose the game.
Yep.
Now, we didn't get a pass rush at all. And he looked comfortable.
0 sacks, not including the fucking, intentional grounding, which was the right call. But he threw more passing yards than we did. Whoever thought that McCord would throw more yards than he had 240 yards through the air versus Hartman's 174.
My biggest issue, though, is if we just manage the clock right, the game's over.
Yep.
And we stop them on 4th and 1, right? We get the ball back. What's there, 3 minutes left? We run.
Less than that.
Yeah, it was in the 2:30s or somewhere in there.
2:30.
So we run. We had started gashing them. We run it right down their throat.
Yep.
First down. Okay. We get it again. Run it right down their throat again. First down. Now we're down to it was right at 2 minutes. And Ohio State's giving up. They're done. We're gashing them. And what do we decide to do? And we ran this play a couple times during the game. And it did all right. We bring Jeremiah Love and Ford in. And Hartman does this little fake to one of them and then hand to the other one. And I don't know if Hartman was wrong or the backs. They got it all messed up, and it lost you 4 yards. And then the next play, you tried throwing a screen pass.
Why?
And then that stopped the clock.
Can I officially say I fucking hate screen passes? I absolutely think it's a fucking bullshit, pass.
So that stopped the clock. If you just run power with Estime.
Just run power.
For the next couple plays, we either get a first down or the clock runs and they get the ball back with 30 seconds left.
And we picked up the ball. Let's see. I'm on ESPN, so this is a little suspect. But it was 4 minutes left in the fucking game. 1st and 10 from our own 11. Hartman throws a complete pass to Flores for 12 yards, first down. Then Estime up the gut, 11 yards to our own 34, another first down, back to back. Then they call a timeout because they're like, oh shit, right? The clock's all the way down to 2:30. Then we do it's really a 3-yard loss, right? Okay, so we lose ground. Then incomplete pass. Okay, stops the clock. We're still at 2:30. Such bullshit. Then Payne runs for 3 yards. It's 3rd and 15, and we did a fucking draw. 3rd and 15, and you run a draw.
Yeah, you should have ran the play before, too, because either they would have used a timeout or we would have ran the clock all the way down. That's what I'm saying. That series lost us the game. There's no reason Ohio State should have got the ball back without burning their timeout. And that timeout let them save the clock when they had an intentional grounding and it was a 10-second runoff. Yeah. If that didn't happen, he would have no timeouts left.
Yep, that's right. It would have been 5 seconds left in the fucking play, and then they wouldn't have had their last play.
Exactly.
Yes. So all the other stuff that happened, we
kick a field goal in our first drive.
DJ Brown dropped the ball too. I mean, they got it in the end zone by 1 inch. I mean, all we needed is one more play, and we just couldn't do it. Or one series, run the ball with Estime there. Once he got that first down, we should have been handing it to him the rest of the game. Ohio State was quitting.
They were quitting.
We were gashing them. They quit. They were done.
They couldn't even make their plays.
Get Mrs. Dowling on here. She seems very emotional with a glass of wine or whatever the fuck she's got.
Imagine being there for this.
It was so miserable.
It was miserable.
It was like the toughest loss that you can even comprehend.
And a lot of it was self-induced. We had the game won.
And then we're going, and then I am personally going back, like, well, what's worse? Like, to just get completely, like, killed like they were predicting?
You can cuss on this show.
But
It's
this is
fine.
worse. But I feel like this is worse because it was, like, we had the win, but we didn't win. I don't know how to explain it.
I think Mrs. Dowling speaks truth there. And what you both have expressed tonight has been shared by multiple people, seasoned professionals, not myself. That I'm some drunk idiot with a spreadsheet and scotch. Or the
got to change though with that pass rush, because I mean, if we think we're gonna play USC with that pass rush, I think USC is probably better than Ohio State.
I'm more upset about like the recruits. Like I'm more upset about the kids that were there. Like we needed that win for the program on so many levels, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Gosh, everything lined up perfect too.
That's kind of the root cause of all this. Like it's like if you win, like it seems like recruits fall from manna from heaven, you know, and it's like you lose, so it's like okay, maybe I'll move on, you know, and it's like, you know, this is another, and it fucking sucks that it's against the Ohio State, you know, it's like all the history and like. And we really don't have a history against Ohio State other than like bowl games and some of this other random shit, you know. And it's like I'm really glad we have a home and home against them, you know, for the first time in God knows how many years. But it's like this sucks because it's like Ohio State has been really good here in the Midwest, here in the United States of America for many, many, many years, and we Notre Dame had the chance to beat them tonight. And we beat ourselves instead.
We did it. It's just
yeah, we lost the game.
Help me make sense of this.
They did not win the game. We lost that game.
Yeah. I'm with you there.
I mean, just that one mess up in the backfield screwed up that whole drive. And we were going to run the clock out. Those guys were giving up on Ohio State. We were gashing them on the run, and we were going to run it out. It just sucks. Totally sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a fan of counters. I'm a fan of, you know, just aggressive running, play calling, whatever. And we didn't do that. And it's like no one. Let me put it another way. Okay, we've got the ball. It's 2 minutes, 2:30 left, right? We go first down. All right, Notre Dame, 1st and 10 from our own 34. It's 2:28 left. Okay? Harmon's got the ball. If you run the ball, you know, and you try to like run the clock out and you like do a dive or you do a counter or you just run the ball for the next 2 plays and it doesn't get there. And then it's like 3rd and long. No one's going to fault you for passing on 3rd and long to keep the drive alive, to keep the clock going. No one's going to fault you for that. But no, we do stupid fucking play calls on 1st and 10 and second. It ends up being 2nd and 15. It ends up being a pass on 1st and 10. Why the fuck are you doing that?
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't in the stadium when you guys were, but you know, so I can't even imagine what you guys were feeling. But it's just like
I turned to the wife on that. I said that play just might have totally screwed us for this.
Gee whiz. Can I rewind the game just a little bit back to the first quarter to our first drive? Do you think we should have gone for it on 4th down? I want your honest opinion. Don't go hindsight. What's your opinion on that?
I didn't blame him at the time because I thought maybe he was being aggressive, but then I know this kicker's big, but if he's gonna miss all these long kicks, all we're doing is setting the other team up in great field position too.
Yeah. I mean, I've already given my opinion on that. You know,
Did you tell Hartman got that first down on that play?
You know, look, when it gets down to that level with the officiating and none of this other shit, that kind of stuff is gravity. You know, like, do we really want Hartman running to the sideline to try to eke out a first down? Like, everyone knows the answer to that, right?
Couldn't really tell in the state.
It actually looked pretty clear, like he was half a yard behind.
Yeah, I mean, like, I can't really, like, point at the TV and be like, no, Big Ten, you're wrong, or, you know, like, and actually, half of me kind of, you know, like, crucify me if you want. I kind of like the officiating tonight. You know, I really appreciate the Big Ten, like, look, just make a fucking decision and move on with the fucking game. You know, don't have this ACC, well, we're going to review everything and everything that we're second guessing. And then it's just, you know, play the Jeopardy theme in Notre Dame Stadium is what we want to hear. Like, that didn't happen
And
tonight.
the only way this game is a smash mouth game that it was is because the referees let them play. And yeah, you could have said there was holding here, and yeah, but it was coming both sides. So they let the players play, and
it was a physical game, and I actually, like, look, if it gets down to blaming the refs, like, you're really splitting hairs. Like, there's very, very, very few times of every single fucking Notre Dame game I've ever watched, there's only one in all of them that have ever said that the refs fucked us over, and that was Florida State of 2014. We won't go into that, but I thought that was a fucking terrible call. Okay, where it was so obvious that that it was not pass interference. Okay, and it's just ridiculous. Okay, that's the only time I've ever said that the refs effed us over. I can't say that about this game. I think anyone with a rational bone in their body is also going to say the same thing.
Yeah, I'm not going to blame the refs.
No, I thought the officiating was actually really good.
We had the ball with 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and we were estimated was going to be wearing them down, and we chose not to play power football and end the game.
Yeah,
and
I'm with you.
But on Parker's defense, that play that he ran with Ford and Love worked probably like 4 or 5 times in the game, where he'd fake it to Ford and he would lead up the middle and then hand it to Love, and Love would, and that play worked a few times in the game. Something tells me it might have been
the previous series. Love got 7 yards on it.
Yeah, something tells me I think Sam Hartman went the wrong way. I really do. I think he might have won.
Yeah, I mean, that's possible. I mean, you could say it's that. You could say it's that Ohio State, and, you know, their coaching staff's a little more put together, maybe a little more experienced. I mean, let's face it. If you're Parker, this is your first time you're, you know, being the OC, right? You know, so everyone's, you know, like, let's not forget that. And we don't have to, like, you know, talk shit about him. Like, no, that's just a fact. It's the first time he's an offensive coordinator. You know, a couple times during the game, you know, for key, you know, late downs, especially at the end of the game, I was like, dude, you better have something in the playbook that you've practiced, but you haven't shown on film yet. And I'm not talking trick plays. I'm talking about quality execution with the talent and the abilities of your players. Okay, I'm not talking trick plays. I'm talking just a play you haven't run yet. That maybe you're in the same formation, it looks similar to something else. I don't know. But you better have shit like that these guys know, oh yeah, that's the 45 counter, or, you know, whatever it's called. Okay? But it's the same formation, you just haven't shown it yet because you played dog shit opponents. Okay? And you've won all your games by, you know, 20, 30 points.
And if DJ Brown just catches the ball, game's over. Yeah. Oh man, it just
when they got the fourth down conversion, and then on 1st and 10, and we missed the interception. I was like, no, that could have been the game right there.
I mean, so many plays. How about a couple other ones where they McCord threw it up in the air? Like, what is our issue too with? We seem to never recover fumbles. We never come up with tip ball interceptions.
it's like there's something with our defense
Like
that
we just can't get a break, right?
Yeah, like we don't make the plays on those. How about the tip ball, that tight end in the middle? Like that was another one that should have been an interception.
I mean, our turnover margin is +3 right now, but it could be higher.
I think even in the NC State game, the ball was on the ground like 8 times, and we didn't recover like any of them.
Yeah, I mean, I will give some credit to Ohio State. You know, both teams were very clean with the football, no turnovers for either team. No, Adam, you're not wrong. Like these are the things that in a close game, in a fist fight like this game was. And that's what we're going to title this. This is the Notre Dame Ohio State fist fight. That will be the title out there on record for this podcast. It's interceptions, it's fumbles, it's these little things like this in tight games that really matter. Like when you're blowing an opponent out by 20 points, no one really cares. But when it's a close game where it's possession by possession, I mean, like just look at the possession, conversions, right? Like Notre Dame is by far the worst it's been all year. Okay, Notre Dame was 2 out of 9 possessions. Ohio State was 3 of 8. I mean, this is nothing as far as possessions go. Like, you go to Notre Dame's previous game, both team had 16, 17 possessions. Half.
Yeah, that's what makes it so bad, too, because it seemed like we would drive. We had success, maybe in between the 30s, but then once we crossed the 50, then we stalled. We'd move it. Once we got there, then we'd stall.
Yeah.
It was like, God. But that series, I know I've said it through that series with 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Because if you don't lose that 4-yard loss and say it's 3rd and 8, you're probably going to throw the football and try to get the first down and see if you win the game. That loss made it 3rd and 15, and the coach wasn't going to try to throw it just in case they got an interception or something. They were pretty much conceding and just punting the ball. But if it's 3rd and 8, you're probably trying to get that first down.
Yep.
And it just
no arguments here.
It's just terrible that we lose that game in that way.
Yeah. Well, Adam, anything else? I think we're pretty much, we've dug everything out of this pit that we can possibly have.
Hopefully these players can, just forget about this come Monday and just move on. Like, yeah, think about it tomorrow and tonight, but just get it out of your mind because Duke is no joke. Like, we need to come be ready to play.
Yep.
And there's nothing you can do about it now. It's over. We lost by 1 inch. Like it is.
Well, we have to go to Duke. I mean, that's the real thing. And this is a night game apparently, which is really weird. But they're calling this game a night. This is the night NBC game, or excuse me, ABC game. At Duke of all places, an undefeated Duke team. What the hell? Who I think had a bye this week. So.
And then you see how trashy Ryan Day is. All he cares about is what Lou Holt said. What a loser.
I haven't seen that, but someone else mentioned that. Like Ryan Day can go, pound sand for all I care. They have to deal with Michigan. Not that I'm cheering with Michigan. I fucking hate Michigan. But the look, this is the tough part of Notre Dame's schedule, right? Whoever thought Duke would be undefeated at this point? I didn't think so. Look, we got to win the next 2 games for sure before we get to SC. Both games are on the road, so maybe this is a good thing. Gives you, Adam, a couple breaks for a couple weeks. And that's where we're at.
Mind right, and you just got to forget about it, and hopefully we can take care of business, and then we'll have to worry about a whole nother. I think USC might be better than Ohio State.
I'm not saying you're wrong. They've got some weapons, and they've got the defending quote unquote Heisman Trophy winner that we have to deal with. So,
yep.
Adam, I really appreciate you jumping on. You and the family there. Thank you so much. Glad you're home safe. Have a good night. Go Irish.
Definitely get to sleep, man.
All right. Well, if anyone else is there, anything else, anything of this say, I'm very disappointed in the outcome of the game. You know, like it's one thing when like I will say this, like I'm happy it was a close game per se, and that it was like now it feels like we're splitting hairs, but there are a few moments in this game, particularly our first drive and our last real drive on offense, that bother me. Defense I thought did okay. Wasn't great, wasn't perfect, but look, that's just kind of where we're at. So, Red Snapper, I don't know what you think, or Jason or Jimmy Joe. You guys are still on, so.
No, I think it just comes down to we beat ourselves, and we've spent the podcast pointing out what those things were. But like Jason or Adam just said, it's done. It's over. It's time to move on to next week, and we better be ready.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah, I'm with you there. No argument from here. Well, look, we're not successful tonight. It's really disappointing. I don't know what else we can say, what we can do. Notre Dame falls 17-14 at home in the green out, which didn't work. Maybe we can blame Under Armour. I don't know. Probably not. Heard a lot of great points from everybody tonight. I really appreciate everybody jumping on tonight, giving their 2 cents, giving their emotional reaction to this game. I think the consensus is Notre Dame didn't lose to Ohio State. Notre Dame just lost to Ohio State, if that makes sense. We beat ourselves. There's things that we think we could have done better to win this game. Whether we were the better team or not is another story.
Jimmy Joe, last thoughts.
Oh, okay. Good night.
Oh, hello, Jimmy Joe.
I cannot believe that you are still up. What time is it over there?
1:14 in the morning.
Oh, boy. You are very dedicated. Well, till next week, we're going to do really well. Okay?
That's my hope.
Good night to you.
Thank you, Jimmy Joe.
Bye-bye.
Red Snapper, any final thoughts here?
Just let this one sting, because they're going to need that feeling to show what they need to do and correct this week at practice. So,
yeah,
let this sting, own this sting, take the responsibility, and be accountable.
Yeah, we don't have to get all macro about playoffs and all this other New Year's Six bullshit. Like that we're so far away. There's so many other things that are outside of our control. Like, and that's really what sucks about this is like now the fate, quote unquote, of Notre Dame is not as outside of our control. When you win all your games, it's pretty much a given that Notre Dame's gonna make the playoffs and shit. When you lose a game like this, that doesn't happen. So it's outside of our control, and all we can do is just move on for the best. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Thank you everyone who's joined us on the podcast version. Have a good night. Thank you for joining the Fighting Irish Faithful show on Leprechauns Media. Go Irish, and we'll see you on Tuesday as we prepare for Duke. Good night.